Hi everybody, I'm Denise Applegate-Schober, and I'm really excited to show you ruler work today. You know, if you want to be precise and get the lines where you want them and not where you free motion them, the best way to do that is with ruler work. Ruler work is still free motion, but with templates and precision. So I have a little sample here. This was made with ruler work. And when I say ruler work, it's a template that you follow on the fabric. Now this can be done on our Regent, our sit-down machine, or all of our long arm machines using the same rulers, the same feet, and the same process pretty much. Because on a sit-down machine we move the fabric, and on a long arm, on a frame, we move the machine. So ruler work on small projects, on quilts, wall hangings, or even stitching in the ditch on something like what's behind me. So let's go to the Regent and I'll show you how easy it is. So I'm here in front of the Baby Lock Regent. So a few things I'd like to show you about the Baby Lock Regent is that it's 18 inches from here to here. So you've got a nice space to do some work on. We're going to do ruler work. So a few tools you're going to need. You're going to need some rulers. You want to make sure that it says high shank or long arm rulers. These rulers are going to be a 1/4 inch thick or about a 1/4 inch thick in height. And the reason why you want that is as you're going and quilting with the rulers, you don't want these rulers to go underneath the foot. So the rulers are going to become really important. I always suggest you have a straight line ruler. That was my first ruler I ever purchased, and it was the best ruler because there's a lot that you can do with it. This particular ruler is called the mini straight line tool. It has straight lines on both sides. It has the clamshell on this side and a 45-degree angle on this side. Rulers are a great way to be precise. With a ruler, you have the ability to follow along and get precision with your quilting. So I'm going to set the rulers aside for the moment. And this particular ruler, you see that it's white. They come laser cut, and there's a film on the back of them. You'll need to remove that so that you can see through each of the rulers. Then you'll need a foot. So this is my Ruler Echo foot set. And in it you're going to get an adapter, a ruler foot, a 3/8, 1/4, 3/8, 1/2, 3/4 inch foot. And those are interchangeable. You'll need your Allen key that comes with the machine to remove the foot. This foot will fit on any of the Baby Lock long arms that the foot goes on and off with an Allen key. Right now I have the micro foot on my machine, so I'm going to loosen the screw and then slightly raise up the bar that the ankle attaches to, and my foot comes off. The ruler foot has two parts. So you have the foot itself, and then you have the adapter. So I have the foot attached to the adapter, and there are instructions inside of how to attach these two together. They attach with a flathead screw, and then I can put this foot on the machine all the way up and then tighten the screw. Okay, so now I'm tight. So the difference between the 1/4 inch and 3/4, you see it's quite large. This will echo around each of the rulers farther out from where you were originally. Now I want to show you the difference between some other feet just so that you can see what the difference is in a ruler foot versus a regular foot. So I've got some feet here. So this is the ruler foot. It's labeled on the top a 1/4 inch. It's a 1/4 inch high. It's a slotted ruler foot so that I can get my thread going in and out of the slot. And it's squared off in the back. So that makes it easy to take a ruler all the way around the foot. The standard foot is round, but it's kind of slanted, curved on the top, and the back is not squared off. We have a rounded back. The open toe foot is just like the foot that I showed you, except for it's open. So this one you don't want to use when you have seams that are a little raised, or yarn couching, or anything with texture on top of the quilt, because the opening of this foot would get stuck on some of those items. So you have a closed toe foot and an open toe foot. And then there is a yarn couching foot set. In the center of this there's a hole, and it's clear, and the hole size varies. There are 3 feet in the kit, and each of the hole sizes vary on the size of yarn that you're going to yarn couch. There's a few other feet. The glide foot, love it, one of my favorite, kind of looks like a contact lens. So here we're going to set up the screen of the machine next. And the screen of the machine tells us how the needle is going to move with what we're going to do. So we're now in front of the screen. A lot of the Baby Lock long arm screens look very similar when it comes to what's in the screen. The screen size may vary, but what the machine does on that screen, a lot of them are the same. So here we have an M or an R. M being our manual mode. What that means is that the needle moves at one speed, we move our fabric. So if I was going to thread paint, manual might be a great way to do some thread painting. But what happens is that the stitch length is controlled by a speed in the movement of my hand. Whereas with the rulers we're going to do, we want to be in regulated mode. You have 2 modes to stitch regulation: cruise and precision. And one of the things that happens with cruise is the needle will pulse. Right now I'm in manual mode. The speed of the needle is set at 550. We do have based, so you can click on the based. We have our saves, okay? And when we go to the regulated, which is what we'll use for the stitch that we're going to do with the ruler, we're going to use stitch regulation, we have 2 modes. Right now we're in precision, and cruise pulses the needle when you stop or get to a point that you want to turn a corner, like in a star. Cruise is great for stars, for zigzagging, things like that. You can change the speed of the cruise here and customize it for your needs. I'm going to go back to precision, and if it's gold, it's on. I'm going to change the stitch length. I'd like 14. I have a 40 weight thread. That stitch length is based on what you would like. We have a needle up, down. So with ruler work, I definitely want the needle to stop up and down. Okay, so stop down, and when I have it stop up, I can tap my foot control and bring it to the opposite position. Right here is my tension. This tension number is only associated to my machine and the thread weight that I'm using, my bobbin weight, things like that. So that is set at 580, and then I have my start stop button. So if I wanted to quilt without using the foot control, I have a start stop button. At the top I have my low bobbin estimator, so it will let me know I can wind a bobbin, put the yardage in, let me know when my bobbin is getting low or when it's out. So some great features. You know, while we're in here, let's go to the settings. Here's our low bobbin here's our low bobbin estimator. We can save different weights of thread and different lengths. An alarm. So I need to set the alarm to tell me when I am done quilting how long it's going to be. So I can set this. It's sew time, not on time. And stitch count is here. So I can pause it or I can start it. I can clear it, reset everything. This is not the permanent numbers in your machine. These are temporary numbers for maybe projects or things like that, or a spool of thread. Your alarm. So we have the override alarm, which is a great way to learn how to use the stitch regulator and get smooth. It'll let you know when you're getting a little erratic in your movement. Here's the alarm if I have to cook dinner in 2 minutes. Well, I better set my alarm because in 2 minutes I've got to go up and turn the oven on to get dinner started. When that 2-minute countdown is done, the alarm will let me know. So I can be in my sewing room and it's kind of my Zen world and forget all about time of day, forget all about what I'm supposed to do, and be really zoned in on my quilting. So I often have to set this alarm clock to help me to remember you need to go and do a few things. I'm going to leave this screen. It will alarm for us. I know that because I have the alarm turned on. Then under our information, gives us our lifetime stitches, gives us our version that we're running, and there are 3 things that have a version to it. The machine, the screen, and notice I have a foot control over here. Okay, so you have 3 updates. You can see that they're here that you might need to do periodically. Those are found on the Baby Lock website at www.babylock.com. Click on the support page and go to your machine. So that's our information piece. Let's go back to our alarm and we have 30 more seconds. Now, I have, for filming purposes, I'll show you, the lights of this shut off, but they do have beautiful lighting. It's just too reflective with our camera. We have a calculator if I need to calculate out what size stencil to get for what size block or reducing a stencil. I can do that. We have a diagnostics we can run on all of the movable features of the machine. And there, the timer has expired. We have different languages and then our update screen. So there's a lot inside of the screen of the Regent. I'm going to go back to the home page. I have it set up for those things that we need for the ruler work. Regulated, 14 stitches. I choose, you might choose 10, 12. It's your choice. Precision, needle stop down, and I'm ready to go. So a few other tools that you might want to have close at hand. I love to have some snips handy. I have them right here on the front of my machine. They're hooked with a finger holder for my phone. Makes them nice and easy at my fingertips. The next thing is you want to put a new needle in. With the 40 weight thread, I'm using a 116 needle, and it's a 134 with an R point, which is a sharp. Then you want some pieces that will go on the bottom of your ruler. So you could either use the sandpaper dots. On this ruler I have the rubber dots, or you might get some little sticky pieces like this with your Westerly rulers when you buy them. So that's handy to have because you want the ruler to stay on the fabric. Then you can use a pre-wound bobbin, or you could fill the bobbin yourself with the bobbin winder that comes with your Baby Lock long arm. So that's your choice. It doesn't matter which one you choose. Now here I have the Machinger gloves, and these gloves help to hold fabric, but they actually help to hold the rulers in place also. Now the big thing to know is they're your gloves. Some people cut the tips of these off, the thumb and the first finger off, and the reason why is it's a lot easier to thread your needle and not have to take your gloves on and off to do that. So I'm going to put my ruler kind of in the middle of my fabric, my needle in the middle and the ruler. I'm going to do a tap of the foot control up and down and pull my bobbin thread to the top. So there's my bobbin thread and my top thread, and I'm just going to stitch in place and make a little knot so that when we're ready, I can cut those threads out of my way. Now I have my straight line ruler, and depending on what you want to do, you may want a chalk liner to draw with. I'm just going to have some fun and play with my straight line ruler and make some straight lines. So here I've got the stitch regulator on, and I'm moving the fabric with the ruler. Now a couple things you might want to know about, depending on what you're doing. Here's our tension on the machine. If you decide to get a long arm, the tension part is one that's a little different than a home sewing machine. Because a home sewing machine we turn in little tiny increments. This one we turn in larger increments, and so I can see at the top of my fabric that my bobbin thread's coming up just a little bit. So on a clock dial, I turned that 30 minutes just to adjust the tension. You would do a sample of that before you begin, and we have some great classes and videos to teach you about tension. So there I've made a straight line. I'm going to come down. Now you'll notice that I'm not going to turn my fabric back and forth. I actually just move the fabric in the direction that we need the fabric to be stitching. So if you think of a big quilt, you wouldn't be able to move a big quilt and turn it quite easily as a small piece of fabric. I do have the stitch regulator on, and the Stitch Harmony does a beautiful job on the Regent. I can stitch a 45-degree angle and then come back and position my ruler. So you can see that rulers get you precision. I'm going to clip this thread out of the way. Do another 45-degree angle. And line up the ruler again. So I'm lining up this edge with the previous line, or I could be lining up any of those lines with the previous lines, just to make sure that I'm staying straight. When I put the 45, I take that straight line that I did here, line up the straight line on that ruler, get my 45, and I land exactly where I need to. So I'm going to do one more line. So that shows you that you can get nice ruler work, nice straight lines. I am turning the fabric this time because I want to have a wider space just to show you the clamshells. So a clamshell is a half of a circle. So I can make some beautiful half circles, and I could go around different things with those. Well, what's great about a clamshell is you can actually build them and offset them, or you can add freehand quilting to them. So I'm going to set the ruler aside. I did 2 clamshells here. Now I'm going to add in the center of those a little freehand quilting. So that gave me the ability to make the clamshells, have a foundation to stitch inside of and build from. So whether you're going to do a straight line ruler, a 45-degree angle ruler, or the beautiful clamshells, you know, it's really up to you what you choose to stitch. But I love the rulers for precision. I'm just going to do a little more. I'm going to do a couple more clamshells up here and show you how we can offset them. And as you do ruler work or any free motion, notice my fabric is staying perpendicular with the table when I'm moving it on a table. On the frame, you can move the machine wherever you want. But here, you want to keep your fabric kind of perpendicular so you're not moving your arms all over the place. So there I have my 3 clamshells. I'm going to go to the top of the clamshell here. And this is where it would be good to have a chalk line down here so you know you're lining up correctly. So whether you want to make beautiful clamshells like here across that I did, or you're looking to add straight lines, keep in mind rulers can help you to get precision, but we can also add free motion to anything that we've done with ruler work. So in the middle of these clamshells, I'm going to do a little free motion and embellish what I did with the rulers. So keep in mind, rulers are still freehand quilting, just with that little template. I know you're going to love it as much as I do. Happy quilting, everybody.